And now, What's My Line? Brought to you by Stop-It Spray Deodorant. Poof, there goes perspiration. Poof Deodorant Body Powder, the body powder you spray. The Nest Shampoo, the new flowing cream shampoo. All in the first truly functional cosmetic containers, far easier to use. All created by Dr. Jules Montagnier, the famous cosmetic chemist. Time now to enjoy What's My Line?
Now let's meet our What's My Line panel of well-known personalities whose lines you already know. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in the New York Journal-American and papers coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And on my left, the charming gentleman who publishes all those Random House and Landmark books, Mr. Bennett Cerf.
On my left, making positively your first television appearance, that is in the past 15 minutes, the beautiful Arlene Francis.
And on my left, our favorite comedy writer, boy with a touch of spring fever in the middle of August, Hal Block.
And on my left, one of the top master of ceremonies reigning today. I'm kind of glad it stopped raining today. John Daly.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's My Line, presented by Stop-It. We have some friends coming up in just a few moments, all of them with interesting, we hope unexpected occupations, and all of them here hoping to baffle our panel, carry away some prizes. We'll also have a famous guest challenger before the panel a bit later in the program, but now it's time for the experts to meet our first challenger, whose job they will have to spot. Will you sign in, please, ma'am?
Can I sit next to you tonight, John?
Dolores Haskowitz, is that right? I was hoping somebody would volunteer that we make a handsome couple, but I guess nobody's going to. Suppose you tell us where you live.
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Minneapolis. Well, it's nice to have you
It's going to be a long trip, isn't it?
It's going to be a long trip. Our friends over on the panel don't know many people from Minneapolis, and I know one of them wants to know you better. Watch out for him. Will you take a walk down in front of the panel for me?
Would you like to feel my muscles?
All right, Miss Haskowitz, will you come over here and sit down next to me, please? And on the basis of your handwriting, what you said, and that quick trip you took down in front of the panel, at this point we give them one free guess as to what your line may be. We begin the free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think she dances in the Minneapolis equivalent of the Copacabana.
Mr. Cerf.
I think she makes rhubarb pies in the Betty Crocker cookroom of the General Baking Company.
Miss Francis.
I know anybody that gets himself up as attractive as that must in private life be a whack.
Mr. Block.
Well, I think she's a bill collector. And if she is, just call me Bill.
No, I'm afraid nobody has it right. We'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Miss Haskowitz, and at the same time we'll tell them what her line is, but panel, you've got to dig. Now, Miss Haskowitz, every time you give them a no answer, we rack it up here and keep the score. Each time that you give them a no answer, it costs them $5. 10 no's for $50, you've won the game. All right, panel, Miss Haskowitz is salaried. With that, we'll begin the general questioning with Arlene Francis.
Is there a product involved in what you do, Miss Haskowitz?
Yes.
Is it a product that adds to the general gaiety of life?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Block.
Is it a useful product?
Yes.
Do people come to you?
Yes.
Was she so pretty? Is the thing that you do something that usually a pretty girl like you wouldn't do?
Yes.
Well, shame on you. Well, I'm only kidding. Do men ever come to you
Oh, yes.
in your place of business? Well, do they ever drop off their way home from work?
Yes.
Are you standing while they're sitting down?
Yes.
Sometime, most of the time, yeah.
Are they ever thirsty when they...
Yes.
And, is your product mainly liquid?
Yes.
Is it ever sort of a strong, potent type liquid?
Yes.
It certainly is.
Well, if I drank enough of it, would I come home loaded?
You drank enough of it, you'd come home loaded.
Well, do you work in a bar?
I beg your pardon?
She doesn't work in a bar?
No, that's 2 down and 8 to go,
Well,
Miss
what could she
Gilgallen.
be selling?
Would ladies ever come to this place where you work? Yes. And would you give them the same type of liquid that you give the gentlemen? Yes. Now, you've said this doesn't add to the general gaiety, and I think the product that Mr. Block had in mind does.
Sometimes it's depressing, kid.
Is there anything about this liquid that is good for people, even though it doesn't make them gay?
I would say that in the final analysis, we would have to admit that in most instances, this liquid is good for people, period.
Well, do they come to this place voluntarily? Yes. Does this have a distinctive taste? Yes. Does it come in bottles? No.
No. That would be 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Sir.
Miss Heskowitz, am I correct in my assumption that people do not drink this liquid that you deal with?
Yes.
You've been kidding around with us a little bit. Am I also correct in my assumption it would not be sold, let's say, in the young Quinlan store up in Minneapolis?
That's right.
Might this liquid be found anywhere in the vicinity of a garage?
Yes.
Do you have something to do with the dispensation of gasoline and oils?
Yes.
You work in a service station.
Right, gas station. Block?
I just wondered if I ever drove in there, would you wipe my windshield?
I want to apologize
brother,
for saying General Baking. It's General Mills I was thinking of, isn't it?
That's right.
You seem to know this town very well, Mr. Sir.
I like Minneapolis.
You like Minneapolis. Well, we all like Minneapolis, and I must say after tonight we like what Minneapolis sends down to see us, too. You did very well with the prizes, and thanks very much for coming to see us and What's My Line. Nice to see you. All right, panel, let's see what you can do with another challenge. Will you sign in, please, sir? Edmund Fold. Is that right, sir? Now, Mr. Fold, suppose you tell us where you live.
Woodhaven, New York.
Woodhaven, New York. Well, you haven't traveled very far today. Got a long journey for you. Right down in front of the panel, please.
Can I hear your message? Oh, you're not trying.
Are they good?
All right,
Pretty
Mr. Fold,
good.
will you come over here now and sit down next to me? And on the basis of your handwriting, bulging muscles that you appear to have from the comments I heard, what little you had to say, we give them at this point a free guess as to what your line may be. We'll begin the free guesses, as usual, with Miss Gilgallen.
I think he's a botany professor.
A botany professor, Mr. Sir.
I think Mr. Fold carves tombstones.
Tombstones, Miss Francis.
I think he tests balloons.
Mr. Block.
From the look in his eye, I think he wishes that he lived in Minneapolis.
That's probably true. Nobody's right. We'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Mr. Fold. At the same time, we'll tell them what his line is. Mr. Fold, the panel's going to have a guess. You heard me explain the rules. I don't have to go through them again. We keep the record right up here so you'll know where you're going. We'll give the panel one more bit of help. Mr. Fold is salaried. With that, we'll begin the general questioning with Mr. Block.
Do you deal in services?
Yes.
Do you come in contact with people?
Yes.
In what you do? So what's so funny about that? Both sexes?
Yes.
Men and women. Is yours indoor work?
Yes.
Do you have to have any special talent in what you do?
Yes.
Well, I think here, if Mr. Fole will allow me, under the terms of reference we use, this would suggest to them a very special type
No,
of
it
training.
doesn't. I mean, has it got any kind of talent at all?
Now, you're too late. I think that you will agree it does not take a special type of training. Therefore, we will say 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
I may join that girl out there.
Does what you do make people happier, Mr. Foles?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Sir.
Mr. Fole, do you work in some kind of a store?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Miss Francis.
Do you work with your hands?
No.
That would be 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Block.
Looks like time for a little conference here.
All right, 20 seconds for a conference.
Hal, find out if you wish, if he works for a non-profit making organization, perchance.
You know the thing, why did they laugh when he said about the people coming?
I don't know, dear.
Maybe they're dogs.
Try a question.
Well, I've met people that were doing All right, is there anything funny about the people that come to you? Let's
No.
say peculiar?
Nothing funny about the people who
Now,
come
what are they
in.
laughing about?
5 down and 5 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do the people who come to you, I'll start that again. Are the people who come to you ever sorry that they have to come to you?
No.
Boy, this is really, I'm getting a little worried myself. 6 down and 4 to go, Mr. Cerf. I would like to point out to the panel there is an assumption coming too, whereas I believe it was ascertained in the earlier questioning. Mr. Fole, correct me if I'm wrong, that Mr. Fole went 2.
I also lost start of your sentence.
Mr. Fole, do you perform some salutary service for the people that you deal with? That is, do you do some good for them?
Yes.
People he deals with would think if it is service.
Do you rid these people of something that they find offensive?
That would be 7 down and 3 to go, Miss Francis.
Well, do you, by any chance, to pick up Dorothy's suggestion, work for a non-profit making organization?
No.
That'd be 8 down and 2 to go.
Is there anything sort of like a police type of thing that you do?
No.
That would be 9 down and 1 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
What are you so happy about?
Do you use any tools or instruments in your work?
Excuse me, John, I spoke out of turn.
That's all right, dear.
May we have a 10-second conference?
You may have 20 seconds.
After the witness has answered that question about the tools and instruments?
Do you use any tools or instruments in
Well,
your
that'll
work?
be your last
No.
question.
That would be 10 down and none to go. You see, I didn't want you to ask that question.
What does he do?
I want you to find out if they
Mr.
were...
Fole sells skeletons.
Oh, great.
So far away with those gravestones.
Oh, are they pretty hard to get?
Oh, yeah. How's business?
Do you sell them for people's closets?
Family skeleton.
Family skeleton.
There's no
Well,
bones about this guy.
we've always had a question in our mind about Mr. Block. Maybe you can help us. Has he got one?
I think so.
I think he's got 2. I think there could be 2 in him. Well, you've won.
One of them is in the
prize.
closet.
And you certainly put the panel in there for the full 10. Thanks very much for coming to see us, and I hope business picks up. You know, it gets better than it is. Yes. Well, good luck, sir. Nice to see you. Of our mystery celebrity, and our friends in the panel would surely recognize our guest on sight, so we provided them with blindfolds. Are they all in place, panel?
Yes.
Will you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? Now, will you join me over here? All right, panel. As you know, in the case of our mystery celebrity, we dispense with all of the usual preliminaries, get right down to the general questioning, which we will begin with Bennett Cerf.
Well, I'll start with the usual question. Are you in the entertainment business?
Could be.
I take it this is not your normal voice. Is that correct?
Could be.
Have you ever toiled for any length of time in Hollywood?
Yep.
Where did that come from?
2 heads.
Would you say that essentially you are a motion picture personality?
Nope.
1 down and 9 to go, Miss Francis.
Well, are you a performer?
Yep.
Do you perform on a stage?
Yep.
Have you performed on the stage in New York?
Yep.
Would you be considered an actor?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Block.
Are you a musician?
No.
La 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 la, wait.
You're not in the musical world? Well, what does he perform at? Cards?
Mr. Block, we're having a conference. We'll be with you shortly. Okay. In consideration of the fact that we use terms in their broadest implications, our guest has been kind enough to say that the answer to the question, are you a musician, would be answered half and half. Go on, Mr. Block.
Should we go around again?
Now, we're confused enough now. You go ahead.
Are you a vocalist by any chance?
Yep.
Are you on records?
Yep.
Have you got a popular record today?
Perhaps.
Yeah, it's a very hard term to be specific about it. I mean, I think it's fair to say that there are several records which our guest has out that are very popular. Now, you go from there.
Are you one of the more robust of the popular singers, rather?
Yeah, he's robust.
Are you about to leave the country?
You do sing in
How are
Washington.
you and the Internal Revenue Bureau getting along, anyway? Are you about to leave the country?
Uh-huh.
You are.
No, I don't.
Continue, Mr. Block.
Did I meet you about a week ago in a restaurant?
He's not likely to remember that, but you go ahead and ask the question.
He probably paid the check.
I paid the check. Is it Frankie Lane?
Yes, it is. Well, I know that you've made a
I couldn't tell from the regular voice, but the could be, that was
I know you've made a new Republic picture, Rainbow Around My Shoulder, but I didn't know you were going
Columbia.
to... Columbia picture, is it? I'm sorry,
That'd get me in trouble.
This is the most heinous crime a man can commit. I will now put ashes all over the top of my head. Columbia picture. Rainbow. Well, what are you going to Europe for? Is that where you're going to Europe?
Well, we have 2 weeks at the London Palladium, and then a concert in Paris, a week at the Empire Theatre in Glasgow, and we're going to hang around Italy for a couple of weeks, and then back to London for a picture.
Just for a vacation, you're going to Europe. Well, isn't that nice? Nothing to do but 7 or 8 pictures, 4 or 7 of them engagements. Is that it?
It's not supposed to be a vacation.
Now, this is a work thing. Well, I must say it was nice, very nice of you to pause before you went off to this very busy schedule and come and visit us in What's My Line.
Sing
Thanks
one of
very
those
much.
nice notes.
Yeah.
Good to
Sing
see
one
you.
note. Now let's see what we can do with another challenge. Will you sign in, please, sir? Sidney. Sidney Parr, Jr. How are you? Tell us, first of all, where you live.
In Oswego, New York.
Oswego? Is that how you pronounce it? Oswego, not
Oswego.
Oswego. Oswego, New York. Well, we've got 4 Manhattan Indians sitting over there. Would you go over and take a look at them for me, please?
May I see the label in your coat to see if you...
Feel those mouthfuls, eh?
Well, I'll do that later. Well, he buys his clothes in Syracuse.
Uh-huh.
Your muscle
Traveling
team,
man.
Mr. Satisfied, Bennett? Oh, I think that's pretty good.
All right,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Parr, will you be good enough to come over here now and sit down next to me? And on the basis of your handwriting, your muscles, and the fact that you're going to pull your chair in a little bit closer right now so that you'll be close to that microphone, we'll give our friends 1 free guess as to what your line may be. We'll begin the free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think he sells foreign cars in Oswego, New York.
Mr. Sir.
I think Mr. Parr is one of those fellows we commuters hope aren't going out on strike in the New York Central.
Miss Francis.
I think he's a college man just back from Helsinki.
Mr. Block.
I think he sells girdles to King Farouk.
No, I'm afraid nobody's right. We'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Mr. Parr, and at the same time we'll tell them what his line is. The panel has to date Mr. Parr. You know the rules. You heard me explain them. We keep the score right up here so that you'll know that every no answer is getting you $5. 10 no's of $50, you've won the game. Now, Mr. Parr is salaried. With that, we'll begin the general questioning with Miss Francis.
Well, Mr. Parr, do you like what you do?
Yes, I do.
You're salaried. Would you be considered a businessman?
Correct.
Do you have to have any training in what you do?
Yes.
Yes, I would say.
Is there any product involved?
Yes.
Is it a product that one would find in the house?
Yes.
Would it be a product that girls would like?
Yes.
Would fellas like it too?
Yes.
Do you like it?
Oh, he loves it. That's correct.
Is it something that might be found also in an office?
No.
No, I wouldn't think so. That's 1 down and 9 to go. We have about 4 minutes to go. Mr. Block.
Well, is this something that some girls might use and other ones wouldn't?
Yes.
Is it small enough to be held in the hand?
Yes.
Is it ever decorative?
Pardon?
Is it ever decorative? Yes, I'd say.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Is it worn above the ankle?
Yes.
Is it worn above the waist?
Yes.
Is it worn above the neck?
No.
No, not above the neck. That's 2 down and 8 to go. Miss Kilgallen.
You skipped quite an area there.
I'm no fool.
Mr. Parr, you said that fellows would like this product. Did you mean they'd like it on the girls?
No.
That would be 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Sir.
Mr. Parr, is this product visible when people go out in the street in their everyday attire?
No, I wouldn't think so. 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
I have to go back to where Hal left off. It isn't from the head up. It isn't from the waist down. So it has to be between the waist and the head. Is that
And the
correct?
neck. And the neck.
And
See
the
you
neck.
later. Yes, that's right.
And fellas don't like it on girls? Is that what you said?
That's what
Well,
he said.
what we meant to convey, and I think Mr. Powell go on, means they don't have any
feeling
particular
about it at
interest.
all.
That's right.
Is it something that a woman would buy for herself?
No.
No, I wouldn't think so. That's 5 down and 5 to go. About a minute and a half to go. Mr. Block.
Well, could a man ever buy it for her?
Could a man ever buy it for her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he could buy it for her, sure.
And she wouldn't buy it herself? Was it too expensive?
Would you like to phrase another question? We'd be very happy to give you an answer.
Well, is it something that she might wear at night?
Well, actually, yes. It's something she might wear at night.
Well, can we have a little conference?
We've got exactly 1 minute.
I'll turn it over to Dorothy.
All right, Miss
I've
Kilgallen.
been 100% wrong so far, but is this something... You did say it was decorative, though, didn't you?
We said yes, it could be decorative.
But it wouldn't show if you went out on the street.
It was also elucidated, I believe, that it would not.
Would it show, would it not show because it was worn under the dress, let us say, if the lady had a dress on?
That's he said if that's a question, the answer is no.
Oh, may I ask an... Oh, dear.
No, I'm sorry. That's
I'll give her one.
One question for Mr. Sir.
Can anybody see this? Is it visible?
Yes. Yeah, it's visible.
And it's not invisible beneath the dress, therefore it's something that only a coat would hide. Is that right?
Well, that would make it 7 down and 3 to go, wouldn't it? Well, I'm sorry. It does look as though time is fleeing on us. I'm afraid you got off on the wrong path on this one. It gave you a lot of trouble. Mr. Parr makes babies' bibs. I'm sorry, Mr. Parr. You win the full prize by default. We'll find that out. Thanks for being our guest. It's nice to have you with us. Good night. And now, in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you a preview look at one of our guests whose line our panel is going to be asked to try and identify on next week's program. But first, here is an interesting reminder. And next week at the same time, our panel of experts will be asked, what's my line by this young woman? Would you know what her occupation is? Could you spot her line? Well, for the answers to these and a good many other questions, be sure to be back with us again next Sunday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, when once again Stop-Et invites you to play What's My Line? For other localities, check your local listings for the date and the time of our weekly series. Until then, this is John Daly saying good night, Dorothy.
Good night, Dennis.
Good night, Arlene.
Good night, Hal.
And put a bib on your skeleton, John.
That I will, and I'll go to Minneapolis with it. And thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us on What's My Line?
This has been a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production. In association with the CBS Television Network.